Welcome, everybody. It is the Windy City Savage. I am back right at it, back at the Windy City production studios. You already know, brother. Oh, yeah. Now, what the hell you doing here? Where the hell you been?
I've been outside this whole time. You didn't let me in the door. I've been knocking and everything. I called you, texted you, sent you smoke signals and everything.
Interesting. Well,
Oh,
man, have a seat, man.
thanks.
Might as well just join me already. Alrighty, guys, ladies and gentlemen, SG3 is back.
The Pointing Man, SG3. How y'all doing tonight? Man, a lot of time.
Apparently, he was knocking on the door the whole time. We
I
didn't
was.
know.
I
Yeah, that's
was
crazy, bro.
knocking.
You've been out for like almost 3 weeks.
I
Interesting.
know, dude. It sucks.
Well, now we know. Now we know. Check the doors all the time. No more locked doors, as they
Oh.
say. Alrighty,
Unless
guys.
you're in a bad neighborhood.
Yeah, well, that's why we keep the lock out here. Alrighty, guys. And with that, man, SG3 is back. And guess what, brother? You're just in time for our Raw review.
Let's do this, man.
Alrighty, so let's get into it. Let's get into the Raw review. All right, my man. Tonight, out of all nights, we start this night off with CM Punk coming out to open up Monday Night Raw. You know how we get those backstage segments when they're walking around with their Starbucks and with their, entourage casually walking by. We saw that with CM Punk. But instead of him casually walking to the locker room, he went straight to the audience, straight to the ring. Out we go. And my man CM Punk comes out. And I guess out of all nights, tonight was crazy because guess what?
He went after everybody.
He went after everybody. Nobody was safe tonight. We got the pipe bomb. I guess you could say 2.0.
The modern day pipe bomb, you could call it. Go after Pat McAfee, after Roman,
The Rock,
after Rock,
TKO. He went after everybody, man. Nobody was safe tonight. So, with that being said, let's just see what he says. Look, let me just tell you, when he came out tonight, he got a little bit of mixed reaction. Yeah, the Houston crowd was kind of more of Roman Reigns' vibe tonight, and it showed. So, with that being said, there was chance of OTC, and there was a little bit of CM Punk, but it got drowned out pretty quick. And that was kind of interesting to see. But right away, he says Houston is a wrestling town. And with that, it is. That's right. Pro wrestling history. He had a lot of great moments here. And there's also that ghost that haunts him to this day. That's what CM Punk said. And as well as, Houston represents a lot of great history, including Paul Bosch.
Yeah.
And with that, they got a good reaction out of it. So that was kind of nice. And then, as well as, he likes to hear about the old timers and what they did back in the day. And he can't help but to compare himself what these old timers would do now in his situation that he's in this whole Roman Reigns ordeal going on. So at that point, he says, dreams are stories what we tell ourselves that is important. But reality is what happens when you're awake. And he has Roman in 2 weeks ago put Punk, which is him, into a table. But Punk countered back and put Roman and showed him what he means business and puts his ass on the table himself.
Yep.
But instead of Punk being MIA when he got put to the table, guess what? Roman's not here. He needs time to recover. And the crowd chants OTC. And when the crowd chanted OTC, he was like, how about you guys chant louder? Because guess what? He's not here again. And maybe this time he'll come out. But I doubt it. That was a pretty good. Honestly, when he was on this role, I'm thinking, God, man, this something's going to be good tonight. And with that being said, look, Roman hates him, he says, which is good. Because that means he's doing his job. He's hated by the loser is the price he pays not being one of them. He puts the belt on the table at this point, and he just sets it there by the announce table. And this is where he starts cutting his famous, we could call it famous pipe bomb, because honestly, we did not expect all this tonight.
Nah.
And whenever you give Punk the free will, because I feel like I feel like not TKO. I feel like WWE Creative went backstage, talked to Punk, and said, "Look, this is what we kind of aiming at, and we kind of want you to do this, but also, do your own thing tonight.
Have fun.
Have fun." And with that being said, that just let Punk unleash hell onto everybody tonight. And look, at this point, he says, "Look, you keep chanting OTC. He may show up, but he may not because I crippled him at this point." And unlike Roman, he shows up despite him being an old man, but he's not weak, he says. He explains why he hates Roman Reigns, which is, at this point, he points at the sign and says, on the biggest show of the year, they both have the tools to climb the ladder. The thing is, his tools are all self-made, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
The ladder that Roman Reigns built were hand-delivered and store-bought, and they're also like plastic like he is. So I'm like, all right, well, this man not starting to cook. Why this company and TKO put this man onto places like Jimmy Fallon? Because he fits that. Basically, calling him a sellout.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because they know that he's safe, boring, and plastic. That's what CM Punk says, which, I mean, honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, he's kind of right on the head.
And unlike him, Punk is dangerous, and it's hard for him to get put on those places because he has the free speech to say whatever he wants on his mind, which, yeah. It's like you don't really see Punk at these shows so often, now that you think about it. And I wonder why. Now,
I find that funny, though.
Yeah. Now, at this point, he says, why is it that Roman does films and shows and then goes MIA for a long time, but Punk does the same thing and shows up every single week to Raw with the title on his hand, but Roman doesn't. Roman can't even show up today, can't show up next week. He's always MIA. And then when he does come, he either shows up late or he leaves early. So let that sink in. He compares him to The Rock and says at least The Rock is Hollywood. Ooh. And then he corrects himself. I'm sorry, not Hollywood, but was Hollywood. So he kind of throws that dig to The Rock at that point, and I'm like, damn, man. And put it this way, at least his cousin is not the board of directors, and at least he doesn't have wise men around him or cousins to protect him. At that point, he paid his dues. He deserves everything he got. At this point, so this is one thing that he tells Roman that sticked out to me. This is a quote: "You are just a punk-toothed nepo baby who ate dog food for a weird-ass old man, and that weird old man treated me like a dog for years. But I had FU money and left." So at that reference, we know who he's talking about, and he is talking about Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
And the stuff at this one, we already got referenced Vince twice. It kind of makes you think. Last week got reference with Cody and Stephanie McMahon segment, and this week we got a reference. With that being said, we got a reference tonight.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like this. I like the fact that they kind of mentioned him without mentioning his name once again. And I also like the whole Nepo baby type of stuff, but I hope we don't listen to that shit every single week, It's not the new word that we want to bring to WWE quite often. And, you can't control him like you can control his family. You can't bring the main event to Mania. Put it this way. At this point, he cuts another promo saying, like, look, at this point, he was given all the spots to Mania for years, and he sucked at all of them. and at this point, unlike him, anybody else in the company would have got fired, would have got blacklisted, because at that point, one or two bad WrestleManias and they would have been done for. But because it was Roman Reigns, he's been given everything and basically handed to him all the stuff, the tools to become successful. Unlike Punk, we had to climb his way on top through the ladders from hell and back. And that's kind of true in a way,
It really did, though.
I kind of like it because it felt real. It is kind of real.
It's very real.
Yeah, because we all know Roman did get handed a silver spoon at this point. And Punk,
especially when he became tribal chief. What?
But let's put it this way, dude. He wasn't over, man. He called out Pat McAfee at this point.
Yep, he did.
And this is what he got to say. I didn't get everything, but this is what he said. Pat McAfee, you want to talk about ticket sales? Call up the agent who was foolish enough to shoehorn you into the business and tell him this. Lower the ticket prices. Because he wants all of Houston to come to Mania so that way they could witness him beating the crap out of Roman Reigns at the biggest stage of them all. I like the fact that they mentioned lower ticket prices, dude. I did not see that coming.
He actually even said, I'll pay everyone's ticket here. Let's go.
Let's go. Honestly, I did not see that coming. I think that wasn't scripted. I highly doubt that was part of the show. But I liked it. I think that was way out of left field. And I doubt anyone could have predicted he was going to say that tonight. I really doubt it. So with that being said, what do you think of this pipe bomb? What do you thought of this whole segment, opening up Raw, and the words that he expressed out there, especially throwing that dig to Pat McAfee and TKO and basically lowering down the ticket prices? Now, do I personally think that's going to happen? No. I'm sorry. I don't think. I think this is one of those things that he did his own thing and he said, fuck it. You know what? I listened to the fans. I'm going to say what everybody's been thinking about for quite a while and say, hey, guess what, guys? You need to lower down these ticket prices so that way us fans could enjoy it once again. Because the reality is that the casual fans and the hardcore fans are getting screwed out. And the only ones that are attending really these shows these days are the ones that are a little bit upper class than we are. But as well as the hardcore fans are no longer there, and this shows. Tonight's Raw in Houston was a rare time where the crowd was energetic.
Yeah.
But we don't get that every week.
No.
And that's because we've been priced out at every city at this point.
Yeah.
So maybe these ticket prices were a lot lower this time. But what do you think overall?
Man, I actually like the promo. It was nice. It was definitely what needed to start off Raw today.
Yeah.
You know, not the little gimmicky stuff. Reminded me kind of the old days, man. Back in the 90s when you saw like them coming in with the fireworks and the explosion, and then you had Vince saying, welcome everyone, or Jim Ross, welcome. It's like, dude, it made it feel different tonight, which was awesome.
All right. And with that, I can't disagree more. I thought this opening segment was honestly the right call, the right time to bring out. And we know Roman Reigns is not going to be there every week. Their last couple of promos have been really lackluster. Honestly,
Punk's been doing it better by himself.
Punk is doing better by himself, but even then, he's been a couple of times where he's been by himself, and it felt cringy. Today, it felt unfiltered. It felt like what was necessary.
Yeah.
To let the man just go out there, cut a mic work, and just go wild. Look, let's just cut this in real quick. And let's talk about SmackDown and what happened on SmackDown with Pat McAfee being the surprise caller that Randy Orton's been talking to for quite a while. And what a downfall that fucking was to that storyline. My fucking God, that was stupid. I watched a bit of it. I got cut off later on during SmackDown, but I watched that enough. And then I went back to rewatch it. First of all, that whole SmackDown was a letdown. It's probably one of the worst fucking shows I watched throughout the whole year. And then that on top of it being the guy who he's been talking to. It wasn't Bob Orton. It wasn't Kevin Owens. It wasn't fucking even Ted DiBiase. It was Pat fucking McAfee. Look,
a puncher,
a fucking kicker, a fucking football player, a podcaster, a ex-WWE commentator, because technically I think he's not their commentary yet. But regardless, a guy that really had nothing to do with the storyline ends up being Randy Orton's mystery caller. What the fuck is this all about?
And I was in his corner.
Yeah, even though he did say wrestling has more than one royal family, how the fuck is this guy family? How does this make any sense? He did cut so Pat McAfee's promo was all about him saying that the product's boring. The product is all about 5'5" guys wrestling each other and putting 45 minutes Iron Man matches, which I'm like, hold the fuck up. What company is he talking about? Because yes, we do have some guys that are short like me in wrestling, but I don't see no fucking 45-minute Iron Man matches. I think he's thinking about AEW.
Yes.
I think he watched the wrong product and it's like, oh shit, I'm in the wrong area. But regardless, he also mentioned the Attitude Era. And it's like, okay, great. I get the Attitude Era. I get it was a time that was great, a time that we hold deeply. And especially this generation coming up, because this is our generation. This is our past now. It's like what the 80s was to the people before us is now what the 90s is to us.
Yeah.
We get that. But look, I get the whole Attitude Era, but it just didn't make sense in this whole promo. And what does Pat McAfee have to do with the Attitude Era? He wasn't there. Hell no, he wasn't close.
Watch it.
You watch it doesn't mean shit. Randy Orton wasn't part of it.
No.
Randy Orton was the Ruthless Aggression Era. So he does mention that, oh, why do we have all this when we have Randy Orton? When we have Randy Orton, when we have Randy Orton. It made the whole segment look weak. It made it look like their fucking WWE product is lackluster. It didn't bring good energy to it. It brought down the value of this storyline. Because I'll be real, this whole storyline had potential. And we talked about this before your ass got stuck out there at the door and did not come to my show for quite a while.
It's not my fault if you can't hear your own door.
Regardless, let's get back to the show. Regardless, we talked about that this fucking feud had potential to be great. And then all of a sudden, it all just got killed with Pat McAfee being on the show tonight. I mean, on SmackDown. And it went downhill and goodbye. And guess what? Now we're back at what do we get next week? You know, don't you feel like this just dragged the storyline to a whole another level to the whole at this point? And now it feels like Punk and Roman is the one that's going back up again. It's like a what you call it, a seesaw when teeter-tot when it just goes up, down.
But you forgot one. Down. You forgot one other person. Jelly Roll's also in that.
Oh my god! And we're gonna talk about the celebrity involvement because our celebrity involvement for WrestleMania is sky high at this point.
Actual Speed all of a sudden got added in this.
Little Yachty, Tom Brady's been talked about. There's so many celebrities that's supposed to be potentially coming in. It's ridiculous. Look, I like the celebrity involvement at WrestleMania, but we don't need it
so much.
Not so much, dude. And there's a couple of guys I could dig. You know, I think Speed is a good person to add in that list because I feel like he tries to at least wrestle.
Yeah, he tries.
With some other guys, I just don't understand. But we got a couple of comments.
Reject rundown. SG3 back in action. My dog. What the fuck is Pat teaming up with Orton? Yeah. Well, firstly, I finally got let in. He finally opened the door. Secondly, it's weird. It's just super weird.
I see. It just doesn't make any sense storyline wise. And the thing is, what they're saying was that this was basically, what's his name, Aries Emanuel's call. That I guess he's the agent of Pat McAfee, and this was his call to like, hey, this guy's gonna be the next big thing. This is what he said. This guy's gonna be the next big thing. This guy's gonna be the next Sylvester Stallone.
Carajo.
But with that being said, he got added to the storyline, which has no fucking sense. No, it didn't bring any value. Instead, it felt like it just killed the storyline.
It did kill the storyline 100%.
It didn't even need Pat McAfee. I'll be real with you.
It didn't need Jelly Roll.
It didn't need nobody. It didn't even need Bob Orton. It didn't need Ted DiBiase. It didn't need nobody. The storyline could sell itself. You could add Orton, dig into his inner Viper, brought out the old Orton, and did what was necessary to get number 15 at WrestleMania.
Good old motherfucker.
By himself. Nobody else. The storyline was already there for years. But guess what? WWE decided, you know what? We need another celebrity.
Cost the fuck out of it.
You know what this reminds me of? Last year when they brought The Rock, when they turned Cena heel, and then The Rock obviously didn't want to show up right afterwards. Yeah. And then they had your boy, The Fiend, Travis Scott come out, help out John Cena, and everything was just a clusterfuck of a mess last year. This what the same segment reminded me of this year. By the way, another comment.
Why it says SG3 is back. What up? Why? How you doing, brother? Read another and said, just my theory. I smell a crazy reaction to Mania. Ted Jr. now could be helping Cody instead of Orton. Cody could finally be turning heel.
I'm sorry. Reject Rundown. Honestly, that is a crazy theory. One, and here's the only reason why I don't think it's not going to happen at all. One could wish. One can only hope. But the reason it's not going to happen is that Ted Jr. has not been indicted. He's been let go free, but he has a lot of bad press still involved with him.
Yeah.
And WWE and TKO is not going to really be willing to take that risk, even for this storyline. And at the same time, we do know that they're not going to be willing to turn Cody heel anytime soon until they get the next face of WWE to keep it going. And at this point, there's nobody. There's nobody to take that role. So I don't think it's going to happen. So by the way, guys, shout out to Wyatt Wrestling. If you guys ever want to watch, the Raw Live, you want to watch this with some good brothers, watch it with Wyatt and his wrestling family out there. They do a good watch along and stuff. I've been on their SmackDown live stream the other day. It was great. It was awesome. We chopped it up. It was fun. It was all good fun. Check them out. As well as check out the other good brothers, Reject Rundown. Back in the day, we used to team up with them.
Yes, we did.
There's some good brothers as well, man. Check out their channel. Shout out to them. Shout out to Wyatt. And let's keep this ball going tonight, because let's run it back. And let's run it back to the Raw review. So regardless, man, because honestly, we could talk about the whole SmackDown angle, but we're probably going to get into that thing later on. But look, with this being said, man, LA Knight is seen in the little promo package, and he's being seen because guess what? He interrupts iSpeed stream. So apparently this man knows how to sneak into everybody's house.
That's right.
And gets into Speed's house, sneaks in, and beats the living crap out of him because he said, you know what? Speed, it's all good, but I still need to give you a receipt.
Yep.
Beats the crap out of him on live stream. Honestly,
that's funny.
It was funny. I liked it. I like Speed. I actually didn't know who the fuck he was until that Royal Rumble last year. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is Speed. I guess he's a famous YouTuber. I still don't watch his shit, but I mean, I think he's great. Every time I see him on the, on TV, I think he does great stuff, honestly. So, good stuff. By the way, we also got another one.
We got one more comment. Just hit 300 subs tonight. We are now at 315 subs now. Congratulations, man. That's awesome, man. That's awesome, brother.
That's awesome, man. Honestly, dude. Congrats to you. Congrats to you, man. More subs to you, honestly.
All right, more subs, bro. Honestly,
subs, dude.
Keep going forward.
Never stop. So put it this way. Speed is walking backstage, man. We see Speed walking backstage, a little nervous, wrecked. And I kind of feel bad for the man, because he seems like he didn't want to do all the stuff, but apparently we already know what happened. So he runs into Danhausen and he talks to Dan and says, you would have been looking for. I want you to break the curse. And Dan says, okay, yes. Uncursing you would help you with the whole LA Knight stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
Yes. But I need to make you to make a promise. If I do this, you would give me your mansion.
Yeah.
So he's like, I can't do that. But as by the way, Danhausen has his fucking teeth on him, his human teeth, apparently.
Yeah.
His jar is full of human teeth. And I feel like that's eventually going to be a WWE shop exclusive at some point. They're going to sell, I don't think human teeth, but teeth in general. So at that point, we see Adam Pearce come out and said, Speed, what are you doing here? And Speed's like, man, I'm over here trying to get Danhausen to break a curse. And he turns around and he disappears, basically.
Yep.
And Speed's like, what the fuck, man? Like, where did he go? And Adam basically tells him, look, dude, you really need to get out of here. For your safety. Go home, man. Get out of here, because we don't know what LA Knight and, the Usos are going to do to you. Out comes the Vision. Theory and Logan Paul saying, no, man, don't go out there. You're going to be by yourself. Stay here with us.
Houston's already hot enough for you.
Yep. Houston's already hot enough for you. Stay with us. We'll protect you. If you go out there to the parking lot alone, we're not going to be able to help you. So how about this? You come out with us. Say they drag his ass out to the ring. On comes the Vision coming out with the very scared iSpeed. And we got a one-on-one match between Theory versus LA Knight.
Yeah.
So we get through this matchup, man. And it's like any type of other Vision matchup with LA Knight. Obviously, we have a little bit of interference.
A little bit of this. A little bit
distraction. A little bit of the same old shit. So we already knew this was going to be a clean finish. So at this point, we see LA Knight outside. He's, pointing at Speed. He's telling him he's watching him. He turns around, and out of nowhere, Logan Paul pushes Speed onto LA Knight, which means LA Knight basically fall down. And then at that point, He's chasing Speed all around the ring onto the ramp. And when he gets to the ramp, on comes the Usos to come out and stop Speed from running away. Speed realizes that he's outnumbered. He has nowhere to run. So he has one direction, either go past the Usos and hopefully get to the entrance past them, or he goes back to the ring where there's only one LA Knight standing between his way. So he runs to LA Knight. He jumps up high. Like
yes, Hobbs. Holy cow.
Well, he jumped out high like he was in the new Super Mario Brothers
Literally.
movie. And he passed LA Knight. He ran into the ring. As he was gonna, as he's gonna get to the ring, basically he got stopped, but Logan Paul kind of saved him. But then also Austin Theory saw the opportunity, got him to the cover, pinned LA Knight, and next thing you know, LA Knight loses another match once again.
Yeah.
We saw that coming. And at this point, Division win, they leave, but they forgot to bring Speed with them because he's left into the ring by himself.
Yep.
So
with the Usos and LA Knight.
Yep. And so at this point, Speed's by himself and he has nowhere to go. And the Uso and LA Knight come to an agreement that they got to attack this man and beat the crap out of them. So that's what they do. They're about to set him up for the 1D, it looked like.
Yeah, they were.
But Logan Paul saves them, and thankfully he saved them because at this point he was about to get attacked. And before they could run away and go off to the sunset, LA Knight issues the challenge.
He says, you two and him versus the Usos and LA Knight. Yeah.
At the biggest show of them all, and that is WrestleMania. He tells Adam, come out of here and make it official. Adam does come and say, you know what, Vision? Do you want this? And he tells Speed, I told you, you should have went home. So at that point, Adam Pearce makes it official, and we got one more match added to. Now we know what LA Knight and the Usos are going to do, and we also know what the Vision's going to do with Speed included.
Yep.
Look, so if I had to talk about this match real quick, I'm not against it. Like I said, I like Speed. I think he's funny. I think he put some effort when wrestling. We haven't really gotten a match of him at WrestleMania, but I think this is going to be good. A good kind of like we have dramatic, we have comedy. We're going to have all of it in once. I think this is a good match at it, and it gives something for LA Knight to do, really, because we were already worried that he was going to do anything during WrestleMania. So I'm not against it. What do you think?
I like it, honestly, dude. It definitely does add some little flair. I may not be so involved, so entertained in the match, but it's gonna be just entertaining. The kid's funny. I watched a couple of his videos. He cracks me up here and there. So can't wait for him to just basically see what he does in the ring. I wonder if he's gonna come in and do the Ronaldo whole thing, the see. So we'll see what he does. It's gonna be kind of funny.
Yep, and I agree with you with that. Let's go on to the next segment. All right. So we got Finn Balor to come out because he's going to face off against JD McDonough.
Mm-hmm.
Out he comes, making his entrance. But before he could get any further, he gets attacked to the ramp by Dominic Mysterio.
Yep.
And then at some point, Finn fights back. But then JD comes in, starts attacking him. Yep. But he gets back the upper hand. He attacks Dom. He attacks JD. But again, the numbers game is just too much for him. And he gets outnumbered. He gets hit with the belt. They bring a steel chair. JD hands Dominic a steel chair, attacks Finn Balor, gives him so much shared damage, and on we go to the next segment because that was basically it for that.
It just sits on him and then just literally points to the sign saying, "You're on."
We did get a promo at some point later on.
We'll talk about it. We'll come back to it.
Okay, I was going to talk about it now.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
So let's just talk about it now. There is some hints that during that promo, looks like they're going to finally bring back the demon character. And it's about damn time. Am I excited for it? Yes. And I think this is the only time we're going to see the demon character finally get a fucking win.
Please, 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 please.
This is the best chances of him to get a win.
Let it be at night. Please let it be at night. To not do what they did with Edge, where it was daylight, and it's like the whole thing was just botched.
I'm sorry, dude, but it's going to be at daytime. This match, there is no way.
Hold on, it's a dome. So you can turn off the lights. Never mind. Keep going. You keep doing what you're doing.
So they did close the dome, I think, last year from the beginning. They didn't even keep it open, actually. So, yeah, because I remember they kept it closed. But I don't know, dude. It's a good way to still fuck it up. I don't know. I'm not always excited when they bring out the demon. When have you seen a really good demon character that actually looked strong?
The very first one, Seth versus Demon.
And anytime in NXT when he came out.
Yep.
But anytime in the main roster, he's just been lackluster.
Once.
Yep. So regardless, I'm excited, but also I just hope they don't bounce it.
I hope they don't watch it either.
Yeah. So with that being said, like I said, there's not much you can do with the storyline at this point. You're just gonna have to wait till Mania. Honestly, they're gonna go a little back and forth next week, but and then afterwards is WrestleMania season. So let's get into it, man. All right, so we got AJ Lee promo hits at this point. So we got a little video package with AJ Lee, and when we come back, we see Michael Cole interviewing AJ Lee. But before Michael Cole really gets those questions out of there, we got Becky Lynch that interrupts and says, Michael Cole, you're still the worst fucking announcer in the world
29 years.
For 29 years. And at this point, like Michael Cole gets upset and says, you know what? I can't do this, and walks away. So now we got AJ Lee and Becky Lynch in an interview.
One like in a face off. That's what was awesome. I loved it. I love the fact it was just a face off between them two.
Yep. So put it this way, Becky reminisces of a time where AJ Lee was backstage as a WrestleMania, right? Becky was backstage after AJ Lee's last WrestleMania. And so she remembers that. She comes in the back and immediately gives Becky a fake hug, she says. Not a real hug, but a fake hug. And says that, at this point, she says, you're the future one day. And she thinks that she's going to replace her at one point. But Becky thinks that it's all fake and it's all, just all for show. And then the very next day, she leaves.
Yep.
Yeah, which is true. And so at this point, Becky does say you're not going to have any home field advantage coming into Mania because WrestleMania, it's her home, and that indeed. And so AJ says, well, look, don't underestimate me because she's proud of her still. And at this point, she says she's about to say something else, but then Becky Lynch interrupts, and AJ says, how about you shut up and let me talk first?
Let me finish talking.
Yep. And then for that, says everything she's done, but that's because so put it this way, she's basically says, yes, I am proud of you. I am what I said I meant, what I said. And everything else, if it wasn't for AJ Lee still doing her thing during that time, Becky wouldn't be in the position she's in today.
That's true.
Thanks to AJ Lee. Throughout the years, all that she fought for that Divas era to get to the place throughout the years that it is now a women's wrestling.
Yeah.
So she says, when you tuck in your daughter tonight,
and you ask her who her favorite wrestler is,
and if she's not going to tell you Becky Lynch, she's going to tell you AJ Lee. And at that, I thought that Becky was going to attack her, give her a punch, or vice versa. AJ was going to give Becky the punch, but instead we got nothing but Becky just getting mad and frustrated, and that's it. This is when the Raw kind of started feeling kind of mid to me.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but this whole feud has just kind of gotten kind of blah, kind of meh, kind of let's just get it over with. I'm not excited for Becky versus AJ Lee. I don't know about you. Is anyone out there really excited for this match?
No one is excited. I mean, I'm not excited at all. Don't get me wrong. I know Mika's excited because AJ Lee is her favorite wrestler. Awesome, cool, fantastic, wonderful. But however, though, this match, it just doesn't sell me. I would prefer, honestly, AJ versus Bayley at this point.
Okay.
But it's at this point, I get it. You want Becky to win. You want Becky to bring back the prestige to the Intercontinental title. But dude, honestly, it really does suck right now. The whole build up, everything.
It does, honestly. And Why Wrestling, I can see he says not excited, yeah. Which, yeah, dude, honestly, I think this is one of the worst feuds going into WrestleMania. There's just no energy there. Since the beginning of not too long ago, there's just not been any energy of anything going on with these sweet two ladies for the last 2 months. I want it to end. So hopefully Becky gets her title back, and let's just end this shit.
Bro, it's been more than 2 months, though, if you think about it. They've been building this up since what? Since about maybe Survivor Series, they've been building this stuff up.
If you really want to go back, we got to think about the greatest PLE in the last 30 years, and that is WrestlePalooza.
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%.
So regardless, like I said, dude, there's no energy there. There's no chemistry. Let's just end it. Let's get it going. Let's move on to the next one. Unless you want to add two more cents to it, go ahead, SG3.
Here's my sense to it. Is it just me or is it the fact that AJ isn't adding it?
AJ,
Becky, I feel like is trying to add to the match. Becky, I feel like is trying to add to it. Was like every single time that AJ talks, it's like, man.
so that's what I've been saying for quite a while. I feel like AJ Lee's not connecting with her promos. I just feel like she lacks chemistry.
I feel like today she wanted to cry. That's just me though. I feel like today she tried like because you kind of see like almost like her trying to break character. She could have sat there and said like put the title up. Remember, I did this. Like start talking. Like you're not going heel by doing that stuff, but you're like saying, remember what I accomplished before you. I didn't set this world on fire. I did.
I didn't really see that she was gonna cry. It just felt like she didn't want to be there. I
Yeah,
felt like she was bored. I feel like she just has no chemistry anymore in the as the mic skills. Because like ever since she's hopped on the mic every week and did something, not every week, but every time she hopped on mic, it just felt like there's no chemistry with her. Like she doesn't really want to be there. I'm not saying she doesn't want to be there, but it seems like she hasn't studied back. She haven't rusted off those mic skills. It just seems like it just seems like a different version of her.
Well, what I remember though when she was there, she was more like a one-liner.
Yeah.
She was just like a one quick like little jab, and that was it. It wasn't like a long promo that they're trying to make her do now.
I don't know, because there was a couple of times where remember that whole pipe bomb promo on the Divas? There were some times where she had some really good promos, but I feel like that's when she got creative. If anything, I'm gonna tell you this, and I don't know, I might be wrong, and I don't want to assume, but I feel like she doesn't really study. She goes in, reads the line, and just goes with it.
Yeah.
She doesn't like rehearse it. She doesn't want to add more. She just wants to read, get out. That's it. And that's fine. I mean, if she wants to make a paycheck, that's cool with me, but it just doesn't seem like it's great chemistry right now. And I think a lot of people could agree. Nobody's excited for Becky versus AJ Lee anymore.
That's the best match for me.
And that's sad because about 2 years ago, we could have said different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it's just not a good time for these two women to meet in the ring. But hey, let's just hope they have a better match than they did at Eliminator's Chamber.
Hopefully.
Yeah, because that one was pretty bad.
That's terrible.
All righty, guys. And with that being said, Bayley and Lyra comes out because Bayley's about to set out to face Lash Legend.
Mm-hmm.
And then at this point, dude, let's just put it this way. This whole match, it's like if you notice one thing, we have a lot of interference.
Yes.
A lot of people coming out throughout the whole segment. And I get WrestleMania time, things that got to be chaos. So sometimes you can't have this in every single match that you have. Because during this match, we had Charlotte and Alexa Bliss come out, interfere for no reason. I mean, they're on SmackDown. They shouldn't really be there at all. And at that point, Bayley climbs up, dives off, and basically lands on all these women outside. Comes back in, but Lash Legend's about to set her up with the superflex until Lyra pulls down Lash Legend's legs, which sets up Bayley to get on top of Lash, covers her. 1, 2, 3. Bayley wins a match on Raw, which is shocking because we haven't seen Bayley win a match in a long time. Not upset with it, but I just feel like
it's a lackluster build.
Yeah, and all this stuff wasn't not necessary tonight.
You could have had them two, like Charlotte and Alexa, come at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And let's put it, you know what? Bayley wins, but then Nia Jax starts beating up Lyra, and then start beating up Bayley. Then here comes the other two, and then it's like you start building more of a feud there. You didn't do it during the match, though.
Agreed. All right, and let's go on to the next segment. All righty, buddy. Seth comes out, and then he finally speaks. Really, starts finally cutting a good promo, which is he speaks about So put it this way: he comes out, he speaks where he says, "Look, I've been gone, Houston. I've been gone for 6 months, and he's been waiting to walk that ramp and for this crowd to sing his theme song." And that's when the crowd goes, "Oh, oh, oh!" You already know his theme song, man. Alrighty, and at that point, he says he's back, and in 2 weeks he's gonna go one-on-one with Gunther, but he's trying to put the pieces together and wonder why Gunther went after him. What is the ordeal? Why does he go after Seth? And he's trying to see if maybe Gunther's a businessman, and maybe he cut a deal with Paul Heyman, where Heyman paid off Gunther to come after Seth Rollins. While he was talking about this, we have Gunther in the background come out and try to sneak another sleeper hold on Seth Rollins. But this time Seth was ready, counters it, goes after Gunther. They go down to the outside. We see Seth go for a suicide dive, attack Gunther into the table, basically. And at that point, both men go at it to each other. And then we have our famous security come out, try to set the man apart. And that's when Gunther sets up the big boot, knocks down Seth Rollins, takes him out. And Gunther gets his ass out of the fucking ring, out of the into the stage, and in the back. And Seth Rollins is pissed.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins goes back in the ring, calls out Gunther to come back inside. He doesn't. But we're seeing that Gunther's backstage, and we see a wild Paul Heyman come out of nowhere. And Heyman tells Gunther this: I don't know why you helped me. I don't know why you attacked Seth, but I thank you. I really do. And I owe you much for it. And once he said that, Gunther says, I have my reasons why I went after Seth, and I think Seth knows why. But he says, as for you, he gives him his hand. Heyman shakes it. And once he shakes it, is, and you will owe me a big favor after all of this. Now, this brings up the question in this segment, is that the big rumor. We kind of already theorized that this was going to happen this week about a favor, and they bring out this whole, always they bring out the same segments all over again. Yeah. Now we have this whole favor segment once again, another repeat, just like Cody getting hit in the dick every fucking
multiple times.
Yes, every time we get the same segment is getting repeated. So now we have this going on once again, but this one seems like it's going to go into a match against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Does that mean it's Minnesota? I don't know. Because that's the talks. It's never been confirmed, but that is the talk where supposedly Lesnar is set to retire. I don't believe it because I feel like if everything falls through in Saudi next year, it's more likely that we're going to see Brock Lesnar wrestle at Saudi Arabia, and it makes more sense for him, Gunther, to have a match against Brock at their WrestleMania, the biggest shows on the mall next year.
I can see that.
And I feel like this is where he's going to tell Paul Heyman that you owe me that favor. I want Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And he's going to be the man to set to retire Brock Lesnar.
Because I don't know if you noticed, but people were talking about this could be Seth's retirement match. But notice he didn't call him the career killer. He called him the ring general today.
Yep. I mean, plus, either way, though, everybody he wrestles, he can't be the next career killer. Because at some point you run out of people. So it just doesn't make any sense. But regardless, we have a lot of things to talk about with that in the future. And let's just see how that goes, man. Let's
Especially
see
next week.
Yeah, I think regardless, look, storyline still doesn't make sense. I'm not a big fan of it. Gunther is a set, and it's because of storyline wise. It just doesn't explain more. You know what I mean? I feel like Gunther should have spoke more. We're only one Raw away.
Naturally.
And yet we don't have an explanation. A real explanation.
If we can get it next week, it can still kind of salvage the match.
Kind of. But this whole build to it has just been lackluster. I said it last week. I'll say it this week. I'm not a fan of it, storyline-wise, build-up wise. Can it be a good match? Yes. But when you put your company on creating really good storylines, sometimes, it just makes it look weak at this point. It does. All right, but enough said about that. Let's go into the next segment, and that is Penta with Dragon Lee with Javon Evans to face off Los Grande Americanos in a 6-man tag match. All right, a lot of high flying, a lot of crazy spots, Mexican destroyers
on the side of on the apron. That was awesome.
That was crazy, but Penta doing it. But in the end,
Javon Evans was like, "Oh, dude,
yep, crazy shit." Javon Evans picks up the win with the OG cutter. And we have all 3 men celebrating. But before the celebration goes on any further, we have a returning Rey Mysterio coming back from an injury, coming in, congratulating Penta on his IC victory, but as well as him talking about that this ladder match, this IC Intercontinental ladder match at WrestleMania, is potentially going to be the greatest ladder match in history. And he missed out last year's WrestleMania.
Due to an injury.
With an injury, but this year he said he was talking to Adam Pearce, and they both agreed that this 5-man ladder match is missing one more person, and that person is Rey Mysterio himself is now entering the ladder match in WrestleMania in Las Vegas. So this is gonna be to me, it's gonna basically. I'm gonna say this. This is gonna steal basically the match of the night. I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for it.
I feel like they should either start this off, WrestleMania, kick it off. Why not? Or put it somewhere close to the end.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's gonna be a good match. I can't wait to see it. Any thoughts on it, real quick?
Yeah, I'm excited, dude. I'm really, really excited because you can tell, like, you know what? Even though they're going to be opponents, Penta does respect Ray so much. Don't forget to tune in this Saturday for AAA. Penta versus Hijo del Vikingo. Can't wait to watch that. I'm actually going to watch it this weekend. But however, on this ladder match, I feel like, you know what? It's going to add a lot, and I just cannot wait, dude. I'm excited for this match. I'm between this one and Oba versus Brock. I'm really, really excited for this match. We do have a comment. I think Braun Breaker gets involved because I heard he just got cleared to compete by Wyatt.
I mean, a while back he was at the Performance Center training, so I think he does get involved eventually. And I think Gunther just come out victorious
I think so too.
At WrestleMania with the help of Braun Breaker.
Because don't forget, Seth has been saying, my other title is to eliminate division.
Well, it's to get his title back and then eliminate the Vision second afterwards, which is funny how he puts second on that.
Yeah.
Instead of first, then second go after the title. But I guess priorities are priorities, man. Sometimes you just want that gold back around your waist or shoulder. Wyatt, we'll see if Braun Breaker does come out.
Yeah.
If so, he's gonna get a loud pop in Vegas. That's for sure.
For sure, we're gonna get a loud pop. I'll even stand up myself at home.
Yeah, on to the next segment. We got Io Sky that comes out with Rhea Ripley, and she is going to face off against B-Fab with as well as Mission. And at this point, look, man, we get an Asuka promo, and it talks about Io Sky. So while we get that promo, man, going on and stuff, I'm guessing Io Sky is going to face Asuka at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But also, she says she's going to be at ringside with Rhea Ripley against Jade Cargill with the new and improved baddies on her corner. So she's gonna pull double duties on 2 separate nights or something.
I don't know, bro. I don't know about that one.
I don't think she's gonna win one or the other. So I'm put it this way: either Rhea Ripley loses against Jade Cargill, or Io Sky loses against Asuka. I don't think she's gonna be in two happy spots. Yeah, 2 happy spots throughout the night. I feel like she has to lose one or cost someone the chance of winning at this point.
I feel like she loses to Io on Asuka.
You mean lose to Asuka and then
No. Asuka loses to Io.
And then what about Rhea and Io Sky then?
I don't know. No. I think it's gonna be Jade. Isn't it gonna be Jade versus?
Yeah, but I'm saying Io's gonna be at her corner.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think it's gonna be 2 happy endings. I think there's gonna be a conflict at some point. I just don't. It doesn't make any sense, really. I get it. She's friends with Rhea, but it doesn't make any sense to have 2 happy endings for Io that night. I feel like there has to be some sort of conflict. So I'm guessing she either somewhat costs Rhea the chance to regain the gold by accident. I'm not saying on purpose, or she loses to Asuka clean. But yes, Kyrie does eventually turn on Asuka by the end of the night.
Or Io turns on Rhea.
That could be. I would like to see that better.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I could probably see it too.
What if you see Io and Kyrie come back together, but it's heels? And just take out the old at this point, Asuka, and then at this point take out the new, which would be Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a comment.
The El Juggalo. Whoop whoop. What up, brother? How you doing?
Whoop whoop. El Juggalo. So look, man. That was that. Honestly, I don't know, man. We could talk a lot about it, but let's just not, because
it's a long rabbit hole.
Yeah, Paul. So put it this way: Paul comes out because at this point we do have the face off, basically the signature of both men. So Paul Heyman comes out with the ladies and gentlemen, because on the ring we got Adam Pearce and Paul Levesque, because apparently he needs to be in front and center of all this stuff going on right now. Of course he does, you know. I'm talking about Triple H, not Bold Femi.
I saw. It's an awesome walk.
I bet you do that when you walk in the bathroom, don't you?
Heck yeah, I do. I'm about to become the rule of the bathroom, really.
Yeah, nobody wants to go in there afterwards. All right, so put it this way. When Paul Heyman does talk, this is little ladies and gentlemen, we get a bunch of oval chants.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at this point, Paul Heyman introduces Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar comes out, shakes everybody's hands. He shakes Triple H's hand, which we know he has history with, Adam Pearce. And out comes Obafemi with the great crowd reaction. Both men are in the ring. And before they really set anything off, they just go at it right away.
Yeah.
They go back and forth. Brock does the first attack. Oba goes back, counters. These men beat the shit out of each other.
Awesome.
Break tables. At some point when the security was coming in, I felt bad for the security because Brock threw a fucking chair.
They did.
And hit a security guard really hard in the fucking face.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Oba threw it back and hit another security guard and knocked them out.
And the knee.
And the knee. And it's ridiculous, dude. I think they really got hurt. But regardless, these men went at it. These men closed out the show. We didn't get a signature, but we basically got an ass whooping, which counts as a
something
signature.
that we've wanted for such a long time.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm gonna tell you this though. These pull apart bras are getting kind of stale, but this is the only time where I think it's still good. But honestly, I'm getting kind of tired of some of these pull apart bras because it happens in every fucking storyline, every single one. So on to that. We're done with Raw. Let's talk about more stuff. Read the comments, please.
Doing well tonight. We're probably getting info regarding Mania this Thursday. All right, congratulations. That's awesome. Also, Gathering of the Juggalos 2026 got announced a few days ago. Hey, that's awesome, man. Where's it
at? Really don't know much about the Juggalos. I mean, all power to you guys. I think you guys do some cool stuff. I always wanted to go to a gathering, just never had the experience to. So I did see something not too long ago where they did put an image out. I know it was AI. They announced the lineup, and it was just funny because it was all like artists and people that were already, and even wrestlers that were dead. And everybody kept saying there's gonna be a lot of holograms used at the gathering this year. I thought it was funny. I don't know who put that out there. I don't know if it was ICP themselves or just somebody else. You know, some fan, some Juggalo fan out there. But no, that's cool, man. Honestly, more power to you guys. I do want to go one day. Who knows, man? Maybe this year's the year, you know, just so I could say I went to one of those things. It always seems pretty cool. I know they had some couple of years back that were coming in our way up north in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But honestly, I had some stuff to do, so I missed it. But I do like ICP. I do like a couple of their songs, so there's some great stuff, honestly. But otherwise, thanks for commenting. If you want to talk about anything else, man, we'll be more to hear it. If you know the lineup, go ahead and announce it on the comments.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so let's talk about a little bit about the little bit of the bubbly, El Ocho or El Nueve, whatever the fuck you call himself now. The learning tree.
Yeah.
Y2J, the Millennial Man. What else we got? The list.
Yeah.
The Festival of Friendship. What else we got here?
Everything. Goodness.
Save Us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lars Jericho.
What else we had? The we had a lot of versions of Chris Jericho. The Lion Tamer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stupid Idiot.
Hey Nick, how you doing? Long time no talk, brother.
Yeah, Stupid Idiot's a good one. Damn, man, there's a lot of fucking things that Chris Jericho went through, even in WCW. Remember the list of 1,002 holds on D Malenko? That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Dude, Jericho in WCW was great. Very underrated, I feel like. He did more great. To me, he did more comedy. I mean, he had longevity in WWE, but he just had more comedy gold in WCW, I feel like. Raw puts me to sleep.
Put me to sleep this one. Okay.
I kind of sometimes I have to agree with you, Nick. Why Wrestling? What up? The Juggalo and Nick. Okay. Alrighty. More notability between commenters. That's what's up.
We appreciate the community, man.
So regardless, let's put it this way. Chris Jericho comes back. So Winnipeg. They were in Winnipeg on Dynamite last week. And before we get Kenny Omega and MJF signing off to get their, AEW world title in line for Dynasty
this Sunday,
out comes Chris Jericho with this Judas theme song. Honestly, it was crazy. I did not expect this. I did not expect this like this at all. He comes out, crowd sings this theme song. He gets a pretty decent reaction. I'm not going to say it went crazy, but it was pretty decent reaction. He comes out, he says, AEW, I'm home. That's all he said. He walked away. And that kind of what broke the internet, and everybody went crazy saying a lot of things. Oh, his contract is frozen, so that's why he's back in AEW. He'll be back to WWE, all this other stuff, and we're going to talk about all that right now. And then some fans were positive of him returning, so they were hyping him up and saying he'll be great to back to wrestling, to the point where it's like, give it about another month and he's going to be hated and he should get off of television. So all that positivity went to negativity
real quickly.
Yeah, so let's just talk about this. Look, is anyone surprised? Is anyone really surprised, guys? Just think about this. Anyone out there want to debate me on this? But why would Jericho go to WWE at any point right now? What is the reason besides to get a Hall of Fame spot, which I think he's going to get regardless? At any point when he decides to return, he doesn't even have to wrestle, but I think he'll just get the Hall of Fame spot eventually in another couple of years. But why would he go back to a company where they're going to basically strip them down, give him less money, take away his podcast, or ask for a revenue cut of the podcast? No more Fozzy tour, no more cruises,
no
more side hustle. Hell, he's not even going to do those independent like signings and stuff. All that is gone. And he's going to get paid less. And the most important thing is he's going to bump heads every week with Triple H and lose his creative freedom.
Yeah.
And he eventually is going to retire to Gunther.
Yeah.
He's going to get fucking thrown to the wolves with bad storyline. What makes you think that Jericho is going to go back to WWE? There's no sense for him. Supposedly the rumor is they did reach out to him, but he just never got back to them. Because I feel like he saw what happened to a lot of these retirement tours and a lot of the creative, basically product going to it right now. I don't think he wants any part of it. And at this point, there's even another rumor that says that he actually signed a new contract with AEW recently for more money. That is the rumor going on today. That there's reports, we don't know if it's true, but he actually signed another contract for a couple more years to stay with AEW. And I'm sure if it's true that Tony Khan threw a lot more money to Chris Jericho, and why wouldn't he stay if he has creative control and he could retire in his own terms, just like Sting did? So
retire, do side hustles, do the Fozzy tour, do everything that he loves to do. Why?
Yeah. So I mean, just tell me, because I just don't think there's anything for him to do in WWE besides Hall of Fame. Because let's be real, if he has a retirement tour, you think it's going to be better than John Cena's?
No.
And John Cena wasn't even a great retirement tour. It was like, it started off with potential, it turned into shit, and then it just went, and then this last match, it went, and it's debatable whether you think it was a great match against Gunther or not. All right, let's see what people got to say here. It's Nick.
Maybe what WWE was offering was not what he wanted.
I highly doubt anything that WWE was going to offer him. It's not what he wanted.
Vince and Jericho, what type of Jericho wasn't familiar with TKO?
So Vince and Jericho were tight. But if you heard a lot of his interviews, he did say that him and Vince kind of had a falling out before he went to AEW. Because Vince didn't take Jericho serious during the end. And he thought that, he kind of mentioned that he thought Vince thought that Chris Jericho was a little washed up at that point. That's why he gave him his blessing to go to New Japan and face Kenny Omega during that time. So if you remember, he was still kind of obligated to WWE. Vince gave him the blessing because it felt like Jericho was not going to do anything for him at this point. And when he did go out there and face Kenny Omega, cut those promos and stuff, it got a lot of views. And then Vince saw that. And Vince didn't want him to do that. So Vince was trying to take back his, creative control in the way of giving Jericho to do whatever he wants. Jericho didn't like it. Jericho also didn't like the whole how Kevin Owens feud went about, how Vince just put it on the second match of the night of WrestleMania. And at that point, he just had enough and he fell out. That's kind of him falling out of the whole Vince thing. So I get that they're tight, but at the same time, I just feel like Jericho just saw the writing on his wall for his character. And I feel like Jericho's smart enough to know that if he does go back, it will make a great pop. Yes, I'll pop. You'll pop. Whoa, pop. But after that pop, what happens next?
Meow.
What happens if Triple H has his ego and says, you know what? I don't want you to do this. I want you to do that. And give us the bland version of Chris Jericho that
The most blandest version of them all.
so and here's the thing. Look, if people are getting sick and tired of him in AEW, you know,
What's going to be the difference in WWE?
it's going to be watered down even worse. So, like, make it make any sense here. Like, I just don't see him going. I also would say this. Now that he returned in AEW, can he be great? Maybe. And I say maybe because I'm going to be honest. I'm a Jericho fan. I have Jericho in my top 10 greatest wrestlers out of all time. Okay?
I
Now,
just get the he does deserve up there though.
I think he's up there. I think he is talented. And yes, his last few years been kind of iffy. But come on, man. This man has been in the game for so long.
Literally.
You can't always be on top. He came back. He looks great. He looks back in shape. And could this be potentially another decent run? Yes. But only if you don't overuse him. We don't need Jericho to appear every week on Dynamite, Collusion. No, we need him to come out as a special attraction.
Yeah.
As basically your Cena for the company.
Or your Danhausen.
Or your Danhausen. I think John Cena, because he's like, if he's treated on that type of level as a GOAT status, just bring him out when you need him at those big matches. When you need him at the big feuds, you need him at All In. You need him at Revolution. You need him at World's End.
And All Out.
One of your big pay-per-views, but not every single one. One of your big pay-per-views. That makes a lot more sense. But if you overuse them, you're back at square one where people are sick and tired of them, and they should be. Okay? Because let's be real, the whole learning tree, even though it was a catchy promo, it did get stale pretty quick. It went nowhere, and they did not put Big Bill over like they should. And where's the man now? I think he's stuck in Ring of Honor because I don't think he's on Collusion anymore. No. I don't watch Collusion as much as I used to, but I don't see him there anymore. And I think he's stuck in Ring of Honor at this point. And Ring of Honor is only doing shows in front of crowds of 20 people at this point. So it's embarrassing that the whole learning tree just went to shit right afterwards. What else we got?
And next comment is by Nick again. But who's winning the show, Triple H or TKO?
That's a good question, Nick. I'm gonna tell you this. How about this? We put this segment together with what happened to SmackDown. All right. We do know that the whole Pat McAfee was a TKO decision. All right. They added that stuff in there. That's why Cody came right afterwards, cut his promo on Pat McAfee, comparing it to, let's say, if Nash and Hall would have brought the third man, and instead of that third man being Hulk Hogan, it would have been Disco Inferno. Throw that jab right back to Disco Inferno, because these two men has been having Twitter beef for quite a while. So Cody's never going to let that shit go. So he burned them on national TV. I thought that was hilarious when he said that. I just think to myself, man, that's a callback right there. But we do know that's a TKO decision. But with that being said, the whole show that was run that night, the whole shit show, at the same time, who has to okay this? Who has the creative control of the rest of the show tonight?
The COO.
Triple H. So it's, look, man, both these men do not know what they're doing right now. Both these men are ruining the fucking show that they have. So it's just, it doesn't make any sense, man. This is why I'm not a fan of neither. Because one man has to step to the other guy, and the other guy has to step on the other guy. It's just never going to happen. These guys are just ruining the whole fucking product right now on SmackDown. Raw, it's been pretty decent.
It's been picking up
a little bit, but I'm not going to tell you it's great. But SmackDown's been a shit show, and we can't blame the Road Dogg anymore.
No, we can't.
We blame the Road Dogg saying, oh, fire Road Dogg. Road Dogg sucks. Road Dogg's been gone already.
For weeks.
And the show is even worse than it was before. So make that make any sense. It's still a Triple H crawl, because no matter what, if you watch on Real, they're on that table, no matter what, no matter the ideas, it all goes to Paul Levesque in the end of the day. He gives the okay. He's the Vince McMahon of this era. All right. And it shows. It really shows in the product. It's just been through shits, a lot of shits. And I'm not going to put it all on him. I do think it's TKO as well. I think they both share a fair amount of criticism, one or the other. What else? Nick says best choice would have been Ric Flair. For the Pat McAfee reveal,
I listen, honestly, Nick, this is not starting with you, but this is what the way I feel. I feel you didn't need Ric Flair. I feel you didn't need Triple H. You didn't need anybody for this segment. These two had already the story written for them 20 years ago. And they said it tonight on Raw. This was written 20, this is 20 years in the making. Let's run with this. Cool. You could have done it that, and you would have had, honestly, for the longest time, the very, very first singles match for the championship interference. No, nothing. No manager, no interference, no outside, no nothing. Just one-on-one. And no celebrity, no nothing. And it would have just added so much more flair to that match. But it's like, damn, we're doing this again. They've been doing this since 39.
right? So here's the thing, though, with Ric Flair. I think he's obligated somewhat to AEW because of Woo Energy Drink, because they still have a sponsorship logo and something going on with all that stuff. So I don't know. I don't think Ric Flair is going to come back anytime ever again in WWE soon, honestly.
Why? It's just they just brought Pat McAfee because to sell tickets. Well, I agree with that, dude. Did you see Friday what they did?
Nah.
They came up with a no-fee Friday. So on this past Friday, they had a promotion where it was you can get like section 400 along with a hotel for $800, like a mid-style hotel, and the seats for $800.
Well, that's the thing. It's because they're not selling well the product anymore. Because again, you price out the fans. Doesn't matter how much revenue you make. Eventually, in this economy, especially today,
Yes,
you're not going to be able to force stuff like this every single time. I decided to stop going to their live events in general. After WrestleMania, I am done. I am not going to any WWE product ever again. I'm not going to go to Saudi. That's for fucking sure. And even after that, if they run it back somewhere in the States, I'm not considering going. It's just because everything's ridiculous. Ridiculous high price. It's just too much for somebody to afford these days in this economy. I mean, you have local wrestling scenes that do a better show sometimes and charge a lot less.
a whole hell of a lot less.
And at this point, there's no justifying the fucking shit show right now that we have, where we get a couple of interference, the same old shit. We run it back next week. We run it back next week. And it is just fucking ridiculous. What else we got?
But I'm saying Ric Flair because of history, and they could have sold tickets with Flair instead of McAfee.
I could understand Flair, Nick. I really can. I just don't think that I'm look, the thing is, I don't think he could come back to WWE because I think because of his Woo energy drinks that get sponsored by AEW, he can't just bounce around anymore.
No.
I don't think he has a Legends contract actually with WWE. So you remember the whole plane ride from hell incident a couple of years back?
Yeah.
Where he got all that controversy? I think he got let go from WWE. And that's why he's not been on TV, and that's why he shows up on AEW and stuff a couple of times already. The last time he showed for AEW was when he was doing that tribute to what's his name? Steve and Michael.
Yeah.
And that was last year. And he was sponsoring during that time Woo energy drinks, and AEW still sponsors that to this day. So I think they have some sort of deal with AEW. I'm not sure, but I just don't see Ric Flair coming back to WWE.
I don't see it either.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Hulk Hogan deal thing going on for like Ric Flair at this moment. It's just weird. I don't see it. I get what you're saying though. The history, evolution, him being his mentor, it makes sense. It really does, but I just don't see it. And honestly, do you really want to see Ric Flair back?
No.
I think the man's gonna embarrass himself, dude.
Yes.
I don't think he could walk. He's gonna want to take a bump. We don't want to see Flair taking a bump. He's gonna probably die, unfortunately. I'm not trying to say that to be funny. It's just being real.
Yeah.
The man's not in great shape.
He's not.
No, and that's even if he doesn't drink before the shows. Yeah, he's a crazy drunk right now. I mean, you see all the shit that's been going on in social media with him. He's always drunk.
Literally.
What else we got?
What's a good price for a front row seat at WWE in your opinion?
$100 minimum. Like, I get it. Everything it fluctuated. I say $150 at best. So I'm gonna compare it to the competition, and their competition is AEW, second biggest promotion. I think we could all agree with that. No matter how you feel about AEW, it's the second biggest promotion. All right. For a front row seat, at an event of AEW, I had paid, and this was 4 seats. This was behind the announce table. I think I was like 4th row behind the announcers. I paid $150 at All Out 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
He was there though. I'll tell you that he was there.
And I think that's a good price. I think that's a fair price. But I think WWE's charging 1,000 and something plus for that same seat. I think that's a little ridiculous. I get, when you buy, let's say your Jordans and they bring up value, even though it's the same shit as every other shoe, they bring out value a bit more. I get it. Name brand. $300 at best. Double it. $300.
I would say this. I'll say you, and I'll say 1,000. Here's why.
1,000.
Because you get a chair. Remember they used to take the chairs home?
They don't do that though. You pay extra.
That's what I'm saying though. 1,000 for you to take the chair home, get your front row seat, and
for a SmackDown or Raw?
No, if he's seeing like a WWE show, like a pay-per-view.
But they're charging this on. I'm talking about they're charging this on a Raw or SmackDown right now.
How much are they charging?
$1,000 for those seats. Yeah,
I believe it, yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. You can look it up right now for next show.
No, but what I'm saying though is like a WrestleMania, like a No Way Out, like those kind of. You know what? WrestleMania, fuck it. You know what? We're gonna be greedy $2,000. You guys to take the chair home, the special one we made, because not everyone here paid for that chair. So we went out, we made you the chair, but it was worth it because you got your special chair. Not a problem. Cool, $2,000 is not bad. Like, I've seen some of these prices. Front row seat was like $3,000. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
For SmackDown, right?
No, for WrestleMania.
$3,000 for WrestleMania.
4. No, sorry, no, it was way more. Sorry,
I was gonna say, bro, you're looking at the wrong event. Last year's Mania, there was a video going out there. I don't know if you remember seeing this video. So last year, there was a couple of fans that saw Randy Orton.
Okay.
And I guess Randy asked him how much he paid in total for front row seats. And I think it was like 3 or 4 people, and they say about $40,000. And then Randy's reaction was like, oh shit. like he couldn't deny that was fucking expensive. Like his facial reaction was like, ooh, like I can't even justify that. Because it's ridiculous. And this year, yes, they had sales. They're cutting down the prices, and I believe they're going to cut down the prices once more this weekend to get more fans into it because they're not selling out. They're not even getting
a lot of space.
They're not even getting close to what they did last year. Not at all close to either night. So they're going to cut down prices, but for the people that first bought it, they were paying like $10,000 front row, maybe more. I wasn't paying attention. I mean, it could have been 20, but that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's a down payment for a house. That's a car. Not these days. These cars are running wild. But regardless, that's a lot of fucking money and a lot of bread to blow if you really have it. But regardless, what I'm saying is proper.
It is.
And for what? A fucking C-level show now?
Mid-tier.
Yeah. This ain't WrestleMania 40. This ain't WrestleMania 39. This ain't WrestleMania 30. This ain't WrestleMania
20,
10. 22, 23, hell, 24, 10, 12. Because I thought 12 was pretty good. 14. You get 15. The drift. 3, 6. Doesn't matter. First one. Regardless, these are not in the fucking same level anymore. All that for what? A mid-tier show is not worth it.
For a predictable mid-tier show.
Yep.
We've been doing for a long time. The other thing that was out of left field, Pat McAfee being added in.
Mm-hmm.
But ISO Speed, you knew he was going to be in the 3-way tag with the Usos in LA Knight. What was the other one? Oh, God, dude, hit me out with another one here.
Jelly Roll
coming in. Yeah, Jelly Roll The Miz coming in. That's another one. Dan House is going to have something at WrestleMania. You know,
he's going to have a segment.
He's going to have a segment at WrestleMania. Tiffany's going to do something against Julia at WrestleMania. And she's going to get the help of Chelsea Green. I feel like heel Tiffany may be on the verge. Now you have, what's another one? Dang it.
So, yeah, I get it.
But you see, it's already like really predictable what's going to happen. Oh, Sami Zayn winning the fucking U.S. title just to drop it onto Trick Williams.
Doesn't make any sense.
That's why it's like you could have done it better with Melo.
It would have been better to have Carmelo Hayes in there against Trick, running back from NXT. It would have stole it would have stole the night. It would have stole the show. But of course, they don't want that. They don't want to outshine your main eventers because they knew it was gonna happen. So instead, they had boring Sami Zayn, a guy that's past his fucking prime and nobody really wants to see out there anymore, win the fucking title, and now he's gonna drop it to Trick Williams, which I'm not really happy
and
about.
You're gonna Trick versus Melo and a fucking SmackDown.
Would have made more sense for that. But look, how about this, Nick? Ask yourself this: if you go to the WWE event today, how much would you want to pay for front row? Hell, how much you want to pay for nosebleed? Because some of these prices will shock you, and it's ridiculous. And now they're kind of learning from it, and now they're experiencing the whole downfall, which we've been talking about for quite a while. Eventually, wrestling fans are gonna get tired, and they're gonna stop attending this. We talked about it last year, fucking around like July.
Yeah.
And we're starting to finally see the results because eventually they're going to hit a wall. They're going to charge too much. And in this economy, not everybody's going to afford it. And now they can tell, like, now we're getting boring fans. And now we're not even filling out the houses anymore. Now,
viewership numbers are dropping.
That could happen. I think that's been happening for SmackDown a bit.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, look, regardless, it's ridiculous. And this whole Pat McAfee angle just did not make any sense. Brought down the value of the whole thing. We had Cody come out trying to basically save it. And he did his own version of like a pipe bomb that night. Kudos to him. At least I give him credit. He did shoot from the hip, basically.
Yeah.
And he fired back against everybody, including TKO. I like the whole promo. I did. I thought it was great. And that's shocking to say about Cody Rhodes before going to WrestleMania because usually his stuff is kind of stale lately.
It really is.
But this was great. This was awesome. I'm glad he did it. I'm glad they kind of WWE creative because supposedly backstage, the whole thing was, hey, just go out there and shoot from the hip, man. Say what you want to say about TKO. That's what WWE creative said because a lot of people backstage were furious and they're getting sick and tired of this whole TKO getting themselves inserted when they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And it's starting to show finally. And I'm kind of glad that they're kind of fighting back. But I don't know, man. Let's just see how this thing goes. And any more opinion about it, man?
Honestly, dude, what they're charging for WrestleMania, it's a fucking robbery, dude. And it sucks. And you know what? I thought the same thing for Elimination Chamber. It's a fucking robbery. And they're gonna do the same thing. And you know what sucks is like they may not learn just yet.
Yes.
Still gonna do the same shit, which is like, all right, cool. Let's come out with these big ass prices. If we can't sell out, then we'll start dropping prices like fucking like a rock falling, like a pound of bricks.
Yep. Alrighty, so let's talk about some other news, man. Y'all remember Alberto Del Rio, right?
Yes.
Guess what?
What happened? What did he do this time?
He got arrested in San Luis, Mexico. And the reason why is that he's alleged to beat up his wife. So, and we got mugshots of him being arrested. So look, man, usually is what's the saying? Guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah.
Look, when it comes to Alberto Del Rio, is guilty.
Right off the bat.
It's been too much times, too many issues of him with domestic violence against women.
Yep.
It's fucking ridiculous. I don't know how he still keeps getting booked. I get it. He's a great on the mic. He's a great wrestler. He's a great look overall. He had potential to be great.
But he
fucked himself over. And honestly, at this point, I saw this today right before we went Raw, and I said, you know what? Enough is enough. Stop booking this man. Stop giving this man a job and make this man disappear from the fucking world already. We don't need more violence as it is. And if this guy thinks he's big and tough beating up women, go fuck himself at this point.
Honestly.
And that's all I'm going to say about that.
I really 100% on it.
Yeah. So, look, regardless, I hope to God justice is served and he gets what's coming to him. Because at this point, it's just fucking ridiculous. Let's go on to the next one. And that is this, man. This one kind of gets me excited. And so put it this way. We were announced today that Hulk Hogan Real American documentary. It has been announced for Netflix. Chronically cycling the life of legacy of Hulk Hogan. And guess what, guys? It's to premiere on April 22. So how do you guys feel about this? What do you guys think? The trailer did drop today. We did see it before we went live today.
Hulk Hogan.
Look, so put it this way. What I saw from the trailer was that they're going to go into more into depth about a lot of the issues, a lot of the controversies, and they're going to go after Hulk Hogan here. It's kind of going to be like, I feel like it's going to be like the whole Vince piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Vince eventually agreed not to do it, left, but Netflix had the right to still go on and air it.
And they did what they did.
But instead, Hogan decided to just go with it. And they're going to go after him, man. They're going to go after all the controversies, and he looks like he's willing to talk about it in there. And it looks like he's going to cover controversies. He's going to
have his ex-wife.
Yeah, he had the ex-wife Linda. He had a lot of people in there. Jimmy Hart,
Bret Hart.
That
was the shock for him. Like, Bret Hart actually going to talk about Hogan? Holy shit, okay.
It's kind of like the Vince piece where they had everybody after Hogan, but Hogan's willing to do the interview. So I'm excited for this, man. I mean, look, we already know we lost Hogan a couple of months back.
Yeah.
And yes, there is a lot of controversy. A lot of people still feel ill about him. But to me, man, as a wrestling fan, I'm excited for this. All right. I'm not the biggest Hogan fan. And it's nothing to do, it's just nothing to do. I just never was the biggest guy. I was more of a Macho Man guy. You already know that.
I would never guess.
But I also respect Hogan and what he did for wrestling. Hogan, the character. Terry Bollea, that's a different story. But Hogan, the character, and what he did for wrestling, I really want to see this documentary. I'm excited for this. When April 22 drops, I'm going to watch that documentary right away. And I'm probably going to do a little review about it that day and see how that goes, man. What do you think, SG3? Are you excited for this?
I'm excited for this. I can't wait for it to happen. I can't wait for it to drop because they're going to talk about when he partied too much during the WCW, when he was living the good life and he was living the high life and he was literally doing everything he wasn't supposed to do. Can't wait for that to happen where I think he took the Hollywood Hogan persona and really just went with it above and beyond. So, unfortunately, I want to see it's basically unfortunate that happened, but I do want to see, though, how everything did tie and what he says in this time.
Yes.
And I feel like in this interview, he's going to finally just lay it all straight. And he said himself, I'm going to show you where the bodies are buried.
Yeah.
He said it himself. I'm going to show you where the bodies are buried, meaning I'm going to show you the dirty of the dirties, the things that you guys were not meant to see. You guys don't know about. The rumors, the truths, what was, what wasn't, what is.
Yep. I'm ready for that, man. I'm honestly ready to see how they go into depth into this. And honestly, I think it was long overdue.
It was.
I just wish Hogan was still alive to at least get us his version of it. Because, it's going to eventually come out with a different version than usually the case. But, it is what it is, man. So let's put it this way, man. We got another thing here. And I'm just going to talk about a little bit more about Jericho here. So AEW went on their website and kind of lists. So put it this way. This is called AEW's official list of Chris Jericho greatest moment in the company. So to me, it seems like Jericho's sticking around a long time. Because if his contract was frozen, why the fuck is AEW investing so much on Jericho right now? I think he's signed for quite a while, guys. So put it this way. Let's go from top 10 to 1. All right?
Okay.
And see if you remember these. Number 10 is the return of the Lionheart.
Yeah.
Against Bryan Danielson at All 2022. I remember this match. And I thought it was a pretty decent match. And as number 10, I'm going to say yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
I agree. I agree with that number 10 because they put on a great match tonight. Both of them did put on a fantastic match tonight.
And it was nice to see him coming out with the whole entire Lionheart. Yeah. I mean, like I said, man, I was a big Chris Jericho fan from back in the day. So honestly,
I remember that you were.
Yeah, so I liked it. I liked it a lot. The whole nostalgia act and seeing Bryan Danielson back in the ring too at the time. It was great. Number 9. This is a funny one. The confrontation with Mike Tyson on Dynamite in May 2020. I honestly forgot this happened during COVID season. It was during the COVID lockdown.
Holy cow, okay.
But they did do this. So put it this way. I'm going to tell you this. Between WWE lockdown and AEW lockdown, I thought AEW Dynamite handled it a lot better.
So much better.
Yeah, with the whole crowd, they're having a bunch of crowd out there, but they're all spaced out. you know, and
Well, there
then
wasn't even a crowd. It was just their own wrestlers.
their own wrestlers, but then they started bringing fans, but they all
Yeah.
spaced out. And not only that, but it just seemed a lot better. Like during the time that was crazy, it felt like, damn, man, this was some good television. And even when they had Mike Tyson, I forgot about that. I forgot the interaction. I'm like, fuck, what the fuck is this shit? But it was nice to see, you
Yeah, it
know?
was.
So yeah, I'll give number 9 that. I'm gonna say yeah on that. Okay, the lexicon. Number 8, the lexicon of Le Champion on Dynamite in December 2019. I remember this one. I mean, I guess they're talking about the segment. I guess it's number 8. It's up to you to decide. I'm just gonna put
Eh,
man. I don't know. Let's just go number 7. Being celebrated. All right, all right, all right. So I'm gonna put a backstory on this. This is the one where they crowned their first AEW champion.
Yep.
And technically, they're not wrong about this. All right. Number 7 is being celebrated as the youngest AEW world champion ever in November 2019. He was the first champion and he was also the youngest at the time.
Yep.
So I remember the whole segment where they had the inner circle talking about Jericho and stuff. And the moment where Sami Zayn's like, he is the youngest AEW champion of all time. And the way he looks serious, I'm just like, what the fuck? Honestly, dude, that was a great segment. I'm just gonna go with that one because honestly, I'm gonna go yay on that. The next one would be making MJF tapped out at All Out 2021. I was there. I do remember this match. I remember this feud personally. I was surprised he made a tap. I thought MJF was gonna go over. I still think MJF should have gone over. But I guess as greatest moments for Jericho, I'm gonna say yeah, why not? Because it did put MJF, you know, basically on the map. It was already on the map, but it brought him out more to the mainstream, to more main events. Because at the time he was still an upper mid carder type of person.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I still think he should have went over on Jericho. But I mean, it is what it is. Number 5, stating he's a sports entertainer on Dynamite in March 2022. You know what this reference to is, right?
So WWE.
WWE basically. So he's poking jab at them. I don't know how this is a greatest moments type of shit. So I'm gonna just pass on this one. How about you?
Because again, at this point, they have to.
Yeah,
they have to.
I'm gonna pass. As this being number 4, this should at least be number 10 because it just doesn't have that much, sense of direction to me. This is what I think when he was creating the what was the one with fucking Daniel Garcia?
Not the learning street before them.
Yeah, I forgot their name. Why am I drawing a blank? But this is when he was creating them, and this is why they call themselves sports entertainers at that point. So that makes sense. But still, nah. Number 4 is winning his first AEW match against Kenny Omega at Double or Nothing 2019. That was a pretty good match. I guess you could put that as the greatest moment for Jericho, so why not?
Yeah.
Number 3 would be introducing the Inner Circle on Dynamite October 2019. I'm gonna put that as yes, 100%. That should have been number 1 in my eyes because when you go back and watch that promo when AEW first started getting started on Dynamite,
I'll never.
That promo was gold, dude. That promo was like, we're not fucking around here. This is a whole new level, and this is a whole new ball experience. We're coming after the competition.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like to me. Honestly,
heck, even Dustin Reynolds said himself, Vince better watch his ass. I'll never forget that, dude, during that time.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy, dude. That felt like that was a true competition during that time. But obviously, things happen afterwards, so it is what it is. Number 2 is returning to Dynamite in 2026. That just happened. That's a number 2. I didn't read this list. I'm reading it now. This one, number 2, is returning to Dynamite in April 2026. Greatest moments. I'm sorry, I pass on this because that's not really a great moment. All he said was, I'm home. I get it. He kind of stuck the middle finger to everybody, thought that he was going to go to WWE, but there's just no greatest moment there. And then number 1, becoming the first ever AEW World Champion at All Out 2019. Come on, man. That's got to be a given. Of course, that is. With that being said, guys, look, man, it's been a great night. Honestly, It was a decent Raw overall tonight.
What do you rate it?
7.5. I thought it was good. I just didn't think it was great. I thought it was somewhere in the middle. I felt like the beginning was good, the ending was good, but in the middle was kind of like up and down.
7.5. 7.5 is good for me.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like it was too much to grade it anything better. I give it a C plus, really. Yeah. But regardless, man, honestly, this has been your Raw review, your news, your rumors, and all more. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time at the next stream. Dig it.
Have a good night. Peace.